Okay, so usually we do questions from our community with our interviewees, but we didn't really promote this yet because you're the promotion, like this interview is it. So I wanted to play the excuse game with you. I've been trying to get my friends to, enroll in the Whole Life Challenge since I signed up like a couple weeks ago, and I heard a lot of excuses, and I know we've talked about this that you hear them and whatever. So I have a bunch of excuses, and I thought that you could give your answer to them.
Awesome. Did
Um,
you, and I'm happy to, come on and answer questions too if we want to do a part two or something. If there seems to be
okay.
a audience for that, I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, so I know you're very good at like kind of quashing excuses. Like I know the other day we were talking about like taking iron,
Hmm.
and I kind of just gave up. Like I don't know if you realize that, but I was just like, okay, I'll take the iron. It's fine. Like
Right.
because it was
Which
just
I wouldn't say for everyone, but you told me that you've had iron deficiency. So tell
okay.
me your excuse.
Okay, so I already do all of those things. Why would I pay money to do it?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I don't think it's a lot of money. At the highest end, right now it's $39, but it goes up to 49 for 8 weeks, and it's got just an incredible value. So, like, I just would like to say, like, it's not some big expensive challenge.
Right.
It's like way less than $1 a day. But there's something about being personally accountable. Like when at the end of the day, when you look at, say you're sitting down to dinner with your friend and you're like thinking about cheating on this challenge, right? Now, there's something about doing it anyway, like eating pretty clean, and I totally get that. I think that's really awesome. But you make different choices when you have parameters to your choices. And to say, like, at the end of a day, like, it's your friend's birthday or something, and you're going to have a glass of wine, or you're going to have a piece of her birthday cake, right? It carries a different weight, your choice, when you're then going to say, take a point for that. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have birthday cake with your friend or a glass of wine or whatever, but it's just that the way that you think about things changes a little when you are being responsible to that choice every day. So, like for me, when I go to New York, I'm going to go to New York for a week over the challenge. It's my birthday, and I know that I'm not going to get a ton of nutrition points while I'm there. But I know also that I'm going to do my 10-minute a day workout. I'm going to do my 10 minutes of stretching. I'm going to take my supplement every day so that I can have those 3 points solid. And then if at the end of the day I end up with a couple nutrition points, that's a bonus.
Right.
But I doubt that there are too many people out there who really stretch for 10 minutes a day, or that who make it a point to get their heart rate up 10 minutes every day. And so the stretching thing, like I will get out of bed at 10 o'clock at night and be like, oh my gosh, I didn't stretch. And I'll get on my foam roller, or I'll get on my yoga mat or whatever, and I'll stretch. And the difference that it has in my body and the pain level that I feel, or, like just how my joints feel and how flexible I am, has a profound impact on my performance as an athlete, on the way that I feel in my body, and all of that. And I know that 90% of them, I know because I work with people and their fitness and well-being, and everyone knows that they should stretch every day, and I think very few people do.
Yeah.
And here it just gives you a reason to, it's like extra motivation.
Mhm. Okay, so these are all in quotes, so I'm reading them as if someone's actually saying them to you. So
Okay.
I don't need a whole life challenge. I just need to change blank about my life.
Okay.
I got this, like you were saying, somebody said they were going to only do like the mobility part or
Right.
something.
Right.
That's where this came from.
Right. So, there's something about the way that they've thought out this challenge for in a very holistic way that kind of addresses like every aspect of your health and well-being, that will just have just a huge and profound impact on the way that you feel. And so, like, it's true, you could do just a nutrition challenge, or you could agree to yourself to stretch it every day. But chances are people aren't going to do the stretching every day without something in place, some accountability in place. I've done other nutrition challenges where it's just like paleo, it's just the food aspect. And I think that's great. I really think like whatever you are going to do, that people should try to take on something like this, once a year in their lives to just kind of raise the bar on themselves. We get super complacent and just kind of used to the way that it is and the way that I am and what I do in my routine, and to really just try to bring it up a notch on all these different levels of your health and well-being, like being aware of how you feel when you sleep for 7 hours a night, or, what kind of breakthroughs you can create in your life with just the idea of meditating for 10 minutes a day. I have a friend who I was on his podcast, Johnny Broomdust, and he actually he's like a meditator now, He meditates every day because of this challenge, and that it might not be that is your breakthrough, but by looking at all these different areas of your life, you're bound to have breakthroughs in one that just totally surprises you. And even back to that, like, I already do all this. Like, yeah, so then why not? It won't be hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Lucky you.
Yeah. I listened to that podcast and I downloaded that app. So
oh, cool.
Like
I want to try that app too.
It's good, and it's like a British guy talking to you, so that's always a bonus. Okay, so I have to live. I mean, if I cut out all the things I enjoy, what's the point?
Yeah, you definitely you will live. I don't think that it is about cutting out all the things you enjoy. I mean, I definitely, I love cheese, and I give up cheese for the whole life challenge, But it's really 2 months, and it's only to really see how that cheese makes me feel, so that after the 2 months of not having cheese, when I start to reintroduce cheese, I get to see, like, does that make me feel good or bad, or does it affect my digestive system, or does it affect my skin, And you kind of want to do, when you reintroduce after the challenge, like, we really recommend that people kind of do one thing at a time. Like, you don't want to eat in your first meal back. You don't want to eat all the things that you've given up,
because you might feel a little bit crappy.
You might feel awful, but also you won't know which specific thing makes you feel bad. Like, I know that cheese doesn't make me feel really bad.
Yeah.
But I know that pizza does, and pizza does because I can't eat the flour anymore, Yeah. So it's like really important to just kind of start, reintegrate slowly, or at least meal by meal, like, I'll have dessert tonight. I'm going to have ice cream or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to have, like, pasta and cheese and ice cream and wine. And you might. It's just that you'll miss the point a little bit of what there is to learn about those things once you've kind of eliminated them from your everyday diet.
Yeah.
The other thing is you find out other things you enjoy. Like you said about the protein list,
Yeah.
You have to kind of get creative and cook at home and ask a lot of questions, and you kind of, it's kind of that knowledge is power thing. It's like, you learn a lot. You can't help it. And you'll learn, like, wow, I didn't know that, cold watermelon was as good as ice cream, or whatever it is. Like, you start to kind of find the ways that you kind of satisfy your cravings and your needs, and there'll be healthy alternatives to what you usually do, what you usually choose, and you just end up expanding your horizons,
Yeah.
and getting super creative and finding out, oh my gosh, I love mango, I didn't know that, or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm. I'm so busy, I don't have time.
It really doesn't take any time. You do have to be prepared, and what I do is I cook on Sunday nights, and I usually cook like 2 or 3 proteins and 2 or 3 vegetables, and then, like, in my fridge I always have like romaine lettuce or butter lettuce or iceberg lettuce to wrap things in, because you can't have bread or crackers or chips, right?
Right.
So I always have things like that on hand, things that I know are legitimate. And the only thing in my house during the whole life challenge is stuff I can eat. And it's funny because I live with a roommate right now, and he'll have other stuff around, and I have willpower like that. Like, if I've said I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But usually when I don't have a roommate, I just clear out my cupboards basically, and I just the only thing I look at is stuff I can put in my mouth,
Yeah.
And I just make sure that I'm prepared and I take care of myself, So the shopping is a little more thoughtful. I love that cooking like one night. I really enjoy that time. It's like an amazing thing for me. It makes me feel really grown up and organized and together. And then I just think things through. It's just that it's that mindfulness thing again, right? You're just like thoughtful. And I know some of the busiest people I know do this challenge with ease. And it gets easier kind of every time you do the challenge too.
Yeah.
Because you just get better at it. But it really like that, the only time criteria is you're saying that you'll do 20 minutes of something a day,
Yeah.
working
and
out.
Log in at the end of the night or the next day and say that you did it.
Right. And that takes
like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it takes like 15 seconds. And that's part of it too, is the routine of that and being mindful about that. And, part of it, I think part of what the challenge teaches you too is how to manage your time and not be a victim of your circumstances when your health and well-being is at stake,
Yeah.
I think a lot of us put our health and well-being and our like food or sleep, it's like our last priority. Like everything else comes first. Everyone else comes first, right? But what if it's like really about you?
Yeah.
Taking care of yourself. And that's a powerful acknowledgement to have. And, it turns out that you can take much better care of other people and your career and all of it when you first dealt with your own, well-being.
Yeah, that's really good.
Nailed
That's
it.
very valid. Yeah, nailed it. Kind of goes into the last one too, which is my like blank family friend spouse don't support me and or bring the stuff home that I can't eat or sabotage my plan. What can I do?
Mm-hmm. I have this great story. This one of our athletes, his boyfriend our athlete Joe was doing the challenge and his boyfriend was not. And his boyfriend, and you'll find that your friends will take this personally that you're doing this challenge. Like they'll be bummed about it, and most friends won't support you, and it really is confrontational to people when other people are trying to do profound things or like something big, like this is a big deal. And so you'll hear a lot, oh my God, are you still on that challenge? Ugh. Or people just like, come on, you can just cheat this once or whatever, like not supporting you, and you get a lot of that. Anyway, so Joe and his boyfriend was just like made it so hard for him. And so the second time Joe did the challenge, he decided he was going to ask his boyfriend if he would play a game with him about complaining about the challenge, and his boyfriend was like, sure. And so basically every time his boyfriend complained about the challenge, he had to put a marble in his pocket. And so as he started to accumulate the marbles, he started to feel literally the weight of his attitude.
That's awesome.
Isn't it great? So I think of that just emotionally, the emotional weight of someone either choosing to support you or not support you. And it's such a big deal. But basically, I just kind of laugh at people and ask them why it's so upsetting to them.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that you feel so confronted by the fact that I am doing a challenge.
Yeah. There's probably some like psychology to that, but
for sure. Well, it's like if you're holding this standard that's way higher than someone else, they feel the different, the all the space in between your standard and their standard. But if you stay mediocre, they're super comfortable because they don't feel like they're less than, or and it's all about them. Like I'm not trying to make anyone feel less than. So, I mean, people get challenged by that and confronted, and especially around, of course, food,
Yeah. Yeah. I had more. A lot of them are just like, I could never blank. I could never give up blank, but yes, you can. And
it's 2 months. No one's asking you to give up anything forever.
And you don't have to give it up for 2 months because you can have whatever you want.
Yeah, you can just take a pill.
You're making the choice, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like the power of choice. It's like you can choose to look at this as an empowering game of choices, or you can choose to look at it as like scarcity and lack.
Hmm.
And it's just that's a choice too.
I think it's crazy. Like this is what I was starting to say before, but like I'm pretty convinced that, half the world is, maybe not half, but a high percentage of the world is starving themselves and the other half is like eating themselves to death. So,
Mhm.
but I think it doesn't look the way that we think it does. And if you actually ask somebody to like write down what they've eaten in a day, they probably actually, like, a lot of people haven't eaten enough. So like
Right.
I know that the amount of food that you can probably eat on this challenge when you're eating this cleanly, if you were to, like just eat mindfully and know what you're putting in your mouth, is actually a lot more than you could eat of the other foods that are just bad for you.
For sure. And you'll be, I mean, it's like you adjust to not eating grains and not, all of that stuff is filler, but it doesn't have any nutritional value.
Yeah.
So it makes you full. I mean, grain was like developed in the age of agriculture to feed the cattle.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just meant to fill you up, to stretch your food, but it doesn't nourish you. It doesn't give you fuel or energy. It takes that away.